feeling really is that the CHRAJ report largely vindicates the position I have always held, that this whole National Cathedral project did not follow due process. Our procurement laws were violently breached. The president and the board of trustees were not transparent with us. Remember that they started by saying that this was a whole private initiative. They were not going to use taxpayer resources. They didn't come to Parliament for parliamentary approval on the resources to be used. They shrouded everything in secret, transparency and accountability. So on the core issues, which CHRAJ confirms that indeed the procurement laws have been breached and that the contract is illegal and that the PPA should move in and cancel that whole bill, that there ought to be further investigation and prosecution. It's a clear vindication of the position that we have always held. The only reservation I have about the CHRAJ report is...
Hello, Honorable Ablakwah.
Yes.
Yes, no, the line dipped for a while, so I didn't quite hear what you said.
Yes, so I was saying that the only reservation I have about the report is the portions to do with the double identity scheme that Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng and Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi engaged in, and the attendant conflict of interest issues. When you read the CHRAJ report, CHRAJ has been very, very, what is the word, unfair to the evidence before CHRAJ, because the CHRAJ is relying on only the passport database and saying that when they looked into the passport database, they saw only one passport, diplomatic passport issued in the name Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi. But even there, I'm surprised that CHRAJ does not see the clear criminality. How do you get appointed to a board as Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng? If you read the incorporation documents of the National Cathedral of Ghana, it is stated there categorically that he is appointed as Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng. His birthday is the 7th of September, 1971. And yet, when he was being issued a diplomatic passport to carry out his official assignment, the passport came in another name, Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi, with a different date of birth, at 30th December 1969, 2 years apart. And how CHRAJ will gloss over all of this, how CHRAJ will gloss over the GRA database, which confirms that he has double things, which is illegal. He has two different mothers. He has two different identities with different set of companies. How CHRAJ will gloss over the DVLA database, which shows that he has a driver's license in the name Victor Kusi-Boateng. How CHRAJ will gloss over the NIA database, which shows that over there he has another identity, a Ghana card in the name Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi. CHRAJ ignored a whole host of databases. I don't know why they focus on only the passport database. I've talked about the DVLA database. I've talked about the NIA database, which shows that he has a Ghana card in another name, Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi. Then when you come to the Electoral Commission's database, in 2016, he voted as Victor Kusi-Boateng. I put out that voter ID number, the voter ID card, which I submitted in the petition. And in 2020, he voted as Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi. And interestingly, within 4 years, he had grown by 10 years. In 2016, he said he was 40 years. In 2020, he said he was 50 years. Then there is a 13th July 2023 High Court judgment. And this case, it is Victor Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi himself who took me to court seeking some damages that I had violated his right to privacy at the Human Rights Court. And when you read that judgment, the judge stated clearly that his conduct borders on criminality. So it is shocking that CHRAJ did not pay attention to all of these matters, where even the gentleman himself in court admits he does not deny the fact that he is both Victor Kusi-Boateng and Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi, except that he sought to create the impression that it was an alias. But the judge in the High Court decision said that you cannot say it is an alias when you have two different dates of birth, 2 years apart, different mothers, you have different things. It's a clear double identity scheme, which the judge said is criminal. So that is the only portion of the report which raises suspicion about CHRAJ's own thoroughness and credibility when it comes to that double identity matter. But apart from that, the report itself is far-reaching, very damning, and to be honest with you, I feel very sad that eminent clergy should be put in this quagmire. Remember, Kapui, that right from the beginning, some of us cautioned, look, President, come clean. If this is a national, first you said it's a personal pledge to God. Is this still a personal pledge? If it's a personal pledge, you know how to go about it. You don't use public resources. If your pledge to God has changed and it is now a public project, then follow due process. Come to Parliament for approval. Let's all have a debate in Parliament. Go to the Public Procurement Authority, because I did an RTI request, remember, many years ago, and the PPA responded that they know nothing about this project. They have not granted any approval. And our laws are very clear. Any project that you are using public funds and you are going to award a contract, you must go through the procurement process. So we started sounding the alarm bells many years ago. Instead of them to address the issues, they rather continued with impunity. I remember they were just calling me names. Sambalat and Tobias, I am an antichrist, I am a false prophet, all kinds of names. We did not address the core issues. Now here we are. I honestly feel really, really sad that these eminent clergy have been put, in this mess. This is a hot mess, which should have been avoided. Look, CHRAJ is saying that when they went to inspect the site, they were shocked that over $58 million, and all they saw was a pit. So where has all the money gone to? I know that Carrie Summers in America is keeping our $6 million. I have seen the inflationary pricing, which David Ajayi engaged in. We cautioned about all of this many, many years, not once, not twice. We even became hackneyed when we kept, repeating the caution. So it is really, really regrettable that this is where we find ourselves. But I believe that moving forward, lessons ought to be learned. And I don't think that the president who masterminded this whole thing should be left out. And then now it is, the poor clergymen who really are going to bear the brunt. But of course, I know that as members of the board, when you are board of trustees, you have ultimate responsibility. Right. And maybe it's a lesson in corporate governance moving forward, so that when the appointing authority, when presidents are not being truthful, are not being honest, are not being transparent about a project, the board will call them to order. You recall that some of them resigned. Bishop Dakiwot Mills resigned, Reverend Sud Anaba resigned, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams also resigned. Perhaps today they will be saying that all their colleagues should have followed them and resigned. They have also been vindicated.
But the issue is that they were members of the board of trustees as at that time, and so they are still part of those who have been called for investigations and subsequent prosecution if necessary, because Nicholas Duncan Williams is cited there, Doug Hayward Mills as well, and it's like 12 of them have been called for investigations and subsequent prosecution if necessary, because the call is directed at members of the board of the trustees of the National Cathedral as of 2021. So they are still responsible, really, if they should call them.
Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. You are right. Except that when you read Bishop Dakiwot Mills' resignation letter, he has some evidence that he kept caution about all of these matters, the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability, and he produced some evidence that he kept raising these things at meetings, even where it should be cited, how the contract should be awarded, who should carry out the contract, the sums, the value for money concerns, and all of that. Unfortunately, remember that the board issued a statement rather attacking Bishop Dakiwot Mills. But I'm sure some of them will when it comes to further investigations and possible prosecution, as CHRAJ is calling for, some of them will argue that, look, we had cautioned. We are not really part of it. But really, this whole thing is just a mess.
So what happens now? What happens now? What happens now? I mean, the report is out. What's the next step?
Look, it is clear that this project cannot continue because CHRAJ is saying that the whole contract is illegal. CHRAJ has asked the PPA board to move in and cancel everything over there. So this project is dead with this report. And immediately, the president must stop paying all those at the National Cathedral Secretariat. You remember that is another lingering issue. When I raised it, Reverend Joyce Ayi said that, look, she sees nothing wrong. They are doing other things, so they should continue to receive salary. And for 31 months, no work has been going on that site. And yet, monies are being paid. Millions of Ghana cedis. So, immediately, that tax guzzling secretariat ought to be dissolved. And we need to start cutting our losses. Don't forget that there's also the aspect to do with compensation of all of those whose properties were demolished. The Malian government is waiting for their full compensation. Their embassy was demolished, their ambassador's residence. Remember, the passport head office was demolished, scholarship secretariat demolished, judicial training institute demolished, judges bungalows demolished, CHRAJ bungalows were demolished, the Comsys IT firm demolished, Waterstone Realty apartment complex demolished. They are at the High Court seeking some $6 million compensation. Who is going to pay for all of that? So the president ought to be surcharged. The president must take responsibility. And it's just a mess.